So the Trump inauguration has been moved from the outside to the inside. And he announced it via Truth Social. He says January 20th cannot come fast enough. Everybody, even those that initially opposed a victory by President Donald J. Trump and the Trump administration, just want it to happen. It is my obligation to protect the people of our country. But before we even begin, we have to think of the inauguration itself. The weather forecast for Washington, D.C., with the wind chill factor, could take temperatures into severe record lows. There is an Arctic blast sweeping the country. I don't want to see people hurt or injured in any way. It is dangerous conditions for the tens of thousands of law enforcement, first responders, police canines, and even horses, and hundreds of thousands of supporters that will be outside for many hours on the 20th. In any event, if you decide to come, dress warmly. Therefore, I have ordered the inauguration address, in addition to prayers and other speeches, to be delivered in the United States Capitol Rotunda, as was used by Ronald Reagan in 1985. Also, because of the very cold weather, the various dignitaries and guests will be brought into the Capitol. This will be a very beautiful experience for all, especially for the large TV audience. And then this woman who reposted it, Art Candy, says, Donald Trump, who held countless rallies outside in record heat during his campaign, now pretends to care about other people in the cold. Let's face it, bro is too old and too soft to have his inauguration outside. The funny part of this is I heard that his inauguration team heard about it when we all heard about it. He just said all of this, and now they have to go from an outdoor inauguration to an indoor inauguration. So they have to completely change up all of their plans. Geiger Capital says, imagine being the guy who just set up 100,000 chairs on the National Mall, and they announced they're moving the inauguration indoors. And then Jeff says, I actually know someone who has tickets to the inauguration Monday. Not sure what they'll be watching if the swearing in is indoors. Yeah, they are going to be stuck. They flew, they drove, they did all of that, and they can't even be in the midst of all of this.
So the inauguration is going to be moved inside the rotunda, and there's going to be a viewing party at Capital One Arena for folks, but nobody's going to be outside now. What's your reaction to that?
So we're not going to get to see it in person then. Is that correct?
That's right.
Well, I don't like it. I mean, we came all the way from Washington, from Oklahoma, and now we're not going to get to see it. We might as well stay home and watch it on TV.
It sucks. Let me rephrase that. It's not good.
Yeah, it's actually something that we've been looking forward to for historical purposes, and being a part of it, that's once in a lifetime.
Absolutely.
We made all the plans, all the arrangements to come up and be a part of this event. And all of a sudden to hear that it's being moved indoors,
we're prepared for the weather. It's not a problem.
It's kind of like a bummer.
It is, yeah.
Cold ain't gonna hurt nobody. And we have farms, and we don't get to not feed the cows because it's cold.
Anthony said what I just said. Imagine being the guy that flies across the country, spends hundreds of dollars on lodging, food, transportation, clothing, just to be told I can only watch it on TV. Well, that guy is me. And then he uses a clown emoji. And he really should have used a clown emoji, because that's some clown stuff. Brad said, you mean the same guy who was already going to have to take down 100,000 chairs after the inauguration? But the great thing is they'll have to take down 100,000 chairs, and they also get to set up somewhere else. So that's important. Ann says there will be people there watching on the Jumbotrons. Oh, okay, so they're going to still be outside in the cold and Trump is somewhere else. Miriam says, did he really get 100,000 suckers to pay the $100,000 to pray with him on the 19th? I would say that the real tiny number is the reason he is moving the oath indoors. He knows the crowd will be even smaller than 2017. And as a reminder, what 2017 looked like, and then this is Obama's 2009 inauguration. Like Brooklyn Dad said, laughing my butt off, Trump's inauguration is moving indoors because Mother Nature said, freak you, tiny hands. Now he will never beat President Obama's crowd size. And then Lorraine says, nah, he just doesn't want to be embarrassed by his small crowd size. And then Free Willy 2 says, Who cares how big the crowd is or isn't? Jesus, Murphy. And that is a wild thing to say, considering how Trump and his first administration were really, really focused on his inauguration size versus the Obama's inauguration size. Remember Sean Spicer? I remember Sean Spicer. I wonder what happened to him. This article is from 2017, like right after the inauguration. Trump administration goes to war with the media over inauguration crowd size. So that man said, who's worried about crowd size? These people are worried about crowd size to the point where they actually lie a lot. This is where the whole alternative facts was born. Park Service does not do crowd estimates any longer, so that there was no official estimate to rely on. And NPR has made no official estimation of crowd size because official figures aren't available. But then Spicer went on to make his own estimate on crowd size and incorrectly claimed that the number of people who used the Washington, D.C. Metro on Friday had outpaced the number of people who used the service during President Obama's second inaugural. In 2009, 317,000 people had, in fact, used the Metro at 11 a.m., according to the WMATA, as Spicer cited. But the White House press secretary then claimed that 420,000 people had used the Metro on Friday by 11 a.m. Only 119,000 people had ridden the Metro. For the whole day on Friday, 570,000 people used the system, but in 2013, there were 782,000 riders and 1.1 million riders in 2009, both much larger than Trump's inauguration. This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period, both in person and around the globe, Spicer said in another unverifiable claim. Spicer's own math was that there was 250,000 people in the immediate area of the inaugural dais at the Capitol, and another 220,000 from 4th Street to the media tents. Spicer then claimed that there were another 250,000 people from the media tents to the Washington Monument. All of this space was full when the president took the oath of office, Spicer said, claiming the entire area from the Capitol to the Washington Monument was full. It's easy to throw out numbers when nobody is sitting up there counting. You could say anything, but like I said, Alternative Facts was born this year on this day. Fact Post News posted this picture of the inauguration day 2009 when it was 28 degrees, just to show how full it was back in 2009. And then Doug Landry said, well, the great thing about moving Trump's inauguration to the rotunda is that all of his supporters already know how to get there. And then it's just a reminder of what happened back January 6, 2021, when they had this peaceful meetup at the Capitol, this peaceful meetup where, they were going after and harming police officers, despite the fact that Trump said that he actually cared about police officers and all of the workers and stuff in that tweet. That Truth Social post, because he didn't want to see people hurt or injured in any way. It is dangerous conditions for the tens of thousands of law enforcement, first responders, police canines, and even horses. But he didn't care about all of those people when all of his supporters were storming the Capitol, and even still where he's thinking about releasing these people from jail, because he does not really care about first responders and police because his actions say so. Anyways, what do you think? Do you think that he is switching locations because he can't fill up this area and 100,000 people weren't really going to show up? Or do you think that he really cares about the cold and the people and all of that? Please join the conversation and let me know. The Brawligarchy is here. The Brawligarchy is here. The tech bros who bought and paid for this administration will be front and center during this inauguration. They are right there on the stage with Trump. It's going to be interesting to see how this country gets shaped up, considering these billionaires, these millionaires, these decamillionaires have literally bought the Trump administration. So we are in for a wild ride this next administration. Let me know what you think is going to go on.
There is a growing list of tech titans who are going to be getting the VVIP treatment on Monday at the inauguration. The latest is the CEO of TikTok. He is going to be joining Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and the CEOs of Apple and Google, who have all been invited to sit right up on the platform where Trump will be sworn in, alongside Trump family members, former presidents, and cabinet picks. Now, most of these CEOs have been on something of a charm offensive in recent weeks, visiting Trump at Mar-a-Lago, donating millions of dollars to his inaugural committee. And it sure sounded like that's exactly what President Biden was referring to in his farewell speech the other night, when he warned for the first time about what he called the tech industrial complex and a growing American oligarchy. One other interesting development from here in Palm Beach yesterday: Trump announced that he was naming Jon Voight, Mel Gibson, and Sylvester Stallone to be his, quote, special envoys to Hollywood, a new position to promote American filmmaking. That led to a rather amusing statement from Mel Gibson, who said that he found out about it at the same time we all did, but that he is ready to heed the call.